Here we go.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Journey into Comics with your hosts, Nate Phillips and Brandon Stone.
I am a god, you dull creature.
What's up, guys? Brando here with another Brandocast, right here, sort of live, on the Journey into Comics podcast. We haven't done a solo cast for quite some time now, and really it's because we've had just a lot of stuff going on, a lot of new ideas, new episodes, and everything like that. But now we finally have another solo cast. If you guys don't know, if you guys have just started listening over the last month or so, every now and again we like to do a solo cast. We have two hosts here on the podcast, myself, Brando, and my co-host, Nate. And every once in a while, we'll throw you a solo cast where one of us kind of goes off into their own topic. Usually mine's video games, but it'll vary. And same with him. He'll do more in-depth comic stuff or go into some television shows that I'm not watching yet. But basically, we're going to be talking about games in this episode. There's a lot of game news kind of floating around, and plus E3 is in like a month. So I really wanted to do this episode. Coming up in the next few months, there's going to be a lot of action going on here on the podcast. We have episodes planned out pretty much for the next month because in 1 month's time, on June 14th, will be our 50th episode of the podcast. We got a big extravaganza thing going on for that. So we've got that going on. We've got, I've got a baby coming, so I'll probably be taking a few weeks off the podcast when that comes, July, August sort of thing. So, a lot of stuff going on here in the podcast, but today we're talking about games, we're talking about all the latest headlines, and we're talking about our thoughts for E3. And joining me this week is a guy that was on last week's episode. He was only on for like 10 minutes, though, because he had to go watch Game of Thrones. And that's Mike. Mike, what's up, man?
Not too much. How's it going?
Oh, it's going great, man. Beautiful day outside. It's not raining today.
Thank God.
I know, man. It rained all day yesterday. I couldn't get anything done. And of course, now it's not raining for when we need to be inside to do a podcast.
Right? It's absolutely beautiful outside right now.
I know. I've got my window open, so you may hear some sirens. I live next to a hospital. You may hear some ambulances fly by. They're not coming for me, I swear. But no, it's been a long time since we talked about games here. We had a lot of news with Age of Ultron coming out, and we did the first ever comic club. But I'm very glad to have you back on the podcast, Mike. You've been on a few shows, and I was kind of thinking about who could I bring on to talk about games, and I really wanted to bring you back on since you didn't get a big window to talk last week.
I appreciate it.
Oh, hey, no problem. Coming into it, we're just going to we have to play catch up with some news headlines because we haven't really covered much on the podcast. But there's a lot going on with Konami. Now, for those of you who maybe don't know who Konami is, maybe you've been living under a rock, Konami dates back to all the way back to the NES. As far as I'm concerned, as far as I can remember, they even started another subsidiary company called Ultra, because back then Nintendo had some stupid rule that a company can only release like 3-4 games a year, and Konami's like, hell no, put more out. So they created another company just to create more games. So they go back a long way, and there's a lot of shakeups going on right now over there. And one of the top guys in that company for the last 15, 20 years, Hideo Kojima, he has been their bread and butter. As far as they've had Castlevania, they've had Silent Hills, but both of those franchises have gone down. Metal Gear Solid is still going strong, and now he is out of the company, essentially working as a freelancer, finishing up Metal Gear Solid. So, but the thing that strikes me about this, Mike, is that we've seen this before with Capcom.
Yes.
With the guy that made Mega Man, I can't remember his name. Same with the fellow who created Resident Evil. A lot of these old-time, creators still working at the company end up leaving the company, not necessarily in the best terms. And it seems like the same thing's going on over at Konami.
It does.
Yeah. The thing is, what really bugs me about this is that it really seems like Konami's like restructuring themselves. From what I've heard of all the stuff I've heard about them making a lot of money in the gambling business, making these machines, and they're wanting to kind of shift their company towards that, and it kind of seems like we're seeing Konami back away from game development, even though they've said, we still stand behind our franchises. They just canceled Silent Hills, which had that awesome PT demo. They pulled PT demo off the Sony store. People are selling the PS4s with the PT demo on it. for like $1,000 or something on eBay. Konami had those listings pulled. I heard. I don't know a source on that. I just saw it in passing. Konami is. They've said that they're going to continue the Metal Gear series, but without Kojima, I know Kojima has wanted to step away from it for a while, but without even some of his input, how is this series going to continue on with the same sort of direction?
It won't. It will not be the same.
Oh no, it can't be. And the thing with Capcom is that they did the same thing with one of their big franchises, Resident Evil. Resident Evil built itself up, and after Resident Evil 4, I want to say, the creator of that series left the company, and they went on to make Resident Evil 5, which was a more of an action game, not a horror game. Then Resident Evil 6, which was even regarded from even like hardcore fans to be kind of the worst one. I played the demo and I couldn't play it. And
oh yeah, the 10-second gun draw to fire, that was terrible.
Oh dude, I don't know if that got any better or if they patched that. It's almost like I'm too afraid to go check it out. But now that guy, he went on to create The Evil Within, which plays pretty similar in vein to like Resident Evil 4. But I've heard that like on a psychological level and on a horror level, it is like fantastic.
Well, I have that. You don't know that I have that game.
No, you never told me that. What the hell?
I did. Well, Joanna bought it, and she can't play it. It actually scares her to death.
Really?
Yeah. A lot of jumpy horror.
Yeah.
Scare moments, but all in all, like all the detail on it's fantastic. I mean, it's really gory. Really gory.
It came out at a time. It came out last fall, and a lot of games got pushed around the fall. But this one kind of like it was almost kind of like a sleeper hit. It sort of stood out for it being so. What's the word I'm looking for here? Standoffish, especially for the really graphic on the graphic front as being so gory. Now, another guy who's kind of broke off from Capcom, another developer, just like the Resident Evil guy, the guy that made Mega Man, left Capcom because Capcom canceled all Mega Man stuff that was coming out. This guy goes to his fans and goes, if you guys want a new Mega Man style game, I'll make it, but we got to, I can't do it alone. I need your help. And he gets Mighty Number 9 funded. Not only just funded, but just demolishes, their goals. And this game is coming out in September. Now, that also happened. And that leaves me with great hope that Kojima, after he leaves Konami, he's going to go on to do some other great stuff.
The question is what? Like,
yeah.
Are we going to see more, Metal Gear style, or are we just going to see something that he's been wanting to do, but Konami has not allowed him to do it?
Well, yeah. In the past, he did a Zone of the Enders, which is that mech kind of action game, kind of a cool game. But if you go into expecting like, oh, this is from the maker of Metal Gear, it is nothing like Metal Gear.
Right.
Nothing like it. And he's done some other games like Snatcher that has a cult following in the past that actually got a release over here on the Sega CD. But I want to reference something right now, and I actually showed you this I think a week ago. And this is not confirmed by any way. This is just a stretch of the imagination, but there is actually some of the only dialogue in the PT demo that was going to become Silent Hills. And Kojima was working on Silent Hills along with Del Toro, and of course, Kojima likes to do a lot of that weird interlacing of stuff in his dialogue and the games. Everything has to have double meaning almost. When you play his games, you see the story and you see the meaning, and then when you think about it even more, it brings whole new meaning.
Well, it also gives a sense of wanting to play the game again, the replayability, because then you'll go back knowing what you already know from completing the game the first time and being like, oh, I didn't see that. So it's like another story behind the original story.
Mm-hmm. All right, so this dialogue, I believe it was, I can't remember who is actually saying this in the game. I remember hearing this, and it's kind of creepy hearing this. I don't know if he's on the phone or on the radio in that little hallway, because that's pretty much all the game is that hallway. Pretty crazy for just a demo. I thought that was a really genius way of doing a demo. But, okay, so here's the dialogue. And it is theorized that this is Kojima talking about the main guy over at Konami, so bear with me here.
Okay.
Dad was such a drag. Every day he'd eat the same kind of food, dress the same, sit in front of the same kind of games. Yeah, he was just that kind of guy. But then one day he goes and kills us all. He couldn't even be original about the way he did it. I'm not complaining. I was dying of boredom anyway. But guess what? I'll be coming back, and I'm bringing my new toys with me. That is the direct quote from that game. And it's meant to sort of imply that this has something to do with the game, a character in the game. The dad killed the family. But the people are kind of thinking that this could be Kojima sort of talking out loud about what's going on in the inner workings of Konami as he's making this game. As the main guy up top is just not getting it anymore. And it's just kind of like Capcom. He's going to get rid of all the main developers. Like one of the main Castlevania developer, he got pushed aside and was working on mobile games over in Japan. And then I just saw something, or I don't know if it's him, and I'm totally unprepared for this. This is off the cuff. That there is a new Castlevania successor, like that 2D Castlevania style.
Really?
And I don't know if that guy's doing it or not. I'll definitely have to look that up and bring that back up in the future. But so there's a lot of shakeup going on over at our good friends at Konami. Metal Gear Solid 5: The Phantom Pain will be Kojima's last game for them. He's finishing up that game and he is leaving. He's gone. He's done. I am excited for the game, but I'll be honest, I'm a little bit more excited to play the game now that I know that for me, essentially, I don't see how Metal Gear is going to be the same. So it's just essentially the last Metal Gear game that we're going to get.
Right, but I have a feeling that it's going to be great. I mean, he's really good about really making his games great and meaningful. So...
Oh, yeah, man. He definitely puts everything he has into his games and more. But that's going to kind of close up the Konami talk. The other big news, and this just kind of broke the other day, in fact. I think it was, May 7th, so this is this past week. Nintendo, Mike, posts its first profit in like 4 years, since like 2011. And kind of the number breakdown here, the company reported a net income of over $150 million compared with a loss of $280 million the year earlier. So last year they lost $280 million, this year they made $150 million. And Nintendo was expected to post a loss of $159 million for the fourth quarter. Basically, they're kicking ass, and you got to hand it to their implementation of the amiibos to really drive that.
Oh yeah, the amiibos have been their big hitter. I mean, you look at Smash Brothers did fantastic, but how long have we been waiting for a new Smash Brothers? I mean, come on.
Well, I mean, yeah, Mario Kart 8 also did really well for them. They also had some other games on the 3DS that did pretty well as well, and like Pokemon and Majora's Mask did pretty well. But essentially, they just missed their sales targets for their consoles on both the 3DS and the Wii U. I'm trying to find the exact number for the actual units. Nintendo said it sold 8.73 3DS units during the fiscal year last year. And they've sold 52 million 3DSs, and combined with all the different models and everything.
I mean, they're still doing good.
Mm-hmm.
The 3DS is what's driving their company right now.
Yeah.
Well, excluding the amiibos.
Right. Yes. No. It goes the Amiibo 3DS, and then of course the Wii U is sort of like the redheaded stepchild. Not really selling what they want. Last year Wii U sales were like 3.8 million, and overall software, all the games they sold last year on the Wii U were 24.4, with 5.1 of that being 5.1 million. That is for Mario Kart 8, 3.65 for Smash Brothers. The thing here is that Nintendo is doing very well for themselves despite the position that they're in. And that looks good for them right now, but they also got to be looking towards the future. Nintendo, it's kind of funny because anytime you talk to a hardcore gamer, they're like, dude, Nintendo needs to get back in this game. They need to get back into, with the hardcore gamers, they need to get third-party support. And I agree, they do need third-party support. But Nintendo has never, ever been about really trying to compete with anybody, probably since the damn Genesis almost. They've been just kind of doing their own thing for good or bad.
Right.
So,
they're staying true. I mean, they're not like I hate, I don't mean it the way I say it, but I mean, PS4 or PlayStation and Xbox is kind of streamlined. Essentially, like they appeal to everyone, and they just put out games whether they're good or bad. Like Ubisoft is, they haven't put out a really good game in a while, but Nintendo does not allow that. If you are going Nintendo, you're putting out a grade game in their eyes, and they want it to be unique. They don't want to be what everyone else is, and that it hurts them, but it makes them Nintendo, and they don't care either way.
Yeah, the cool thing about it is that they market mainly towards children, and the other companies need that. They need that because your Sonys, your Microsofts, they want kids playing games because those kids are going to go up and buy their products.
Right. So,
Nintendo's doing pretty damn well for themselves. I'm very happy to hear that they have posted a profit, wherever they are in their development with the new system. I hope it is something good. I hope they do bring back some third-party support because, I mean, come on. If you could have a system where you could play Mario, Zelda, Metroid, Kirby, and then turn around and put in your Call of Duty, your Maddens, that's a damn good system to have, to where you can appeal. Your kid can play it during the day, and then you can come home from work and play it. You can play your games on it.
Yeah, but here's the big question that Nintendo has not taken into any of their products is the communication. They have no party chat. They have no communication at all amongst players. And for some of those games, like Call of Duty, it's almost a requirement now. So
I don't know if this Call of Duty doesn't have at the last one. I think they put Ghost on there, didn't they?
I don't know for sure.
I know there have been a few Call of Duties on Wii U, and I haven't played them, to be honest. But they do have Wii U like Turtle Beach headsets, and I have seen those around. So maybe the Wii U doesn't have the chat. Maybe it's incorporated into the game. So that's probably more of a third-party thing, where the Nintendo main party, like Splatoon coming out, doesn't have it, and that is a Nintendo choice. There are definitely some things that they need to do to appeal to the mainstream gamers if they want to do that. But as you said, they're going to do what they feel like they want to do. Whether or not we agree with it, Nintendo is Nintendo. I don't think they're going anywhere, especially not now. The other big Nintendo news, which I haven't even told you about, Nintendo and Universal are teaming up for theme park attractions.
Yeah, I do. I do know this actually.
So basically, you could be seeing your favorite Nintendo franchises like Mario, Zelda. They'll be walking around Universal. They'll have rides, or maybe they'll have like arcades or whatever, and you can go in there and kind of have like a Nintendo land, if you will, at Universal.
Hopefully it's done before I go to Harry Potter World, so that I have something to do while we're there.
There you go. I don't know. They haven't said when that's going to kind of roll out, but that is really cool. I think that they're doing a lot to appeal not only to just kids, but to all ranges of audiences and families. Nintendo is not just for kids, but they definitely, you show a little kid a picture of Super Mario, and then he's going to know who it is for the most part. But that's cool that for the first time in a long time on this podcast, there's no bad news to say about Nintendo other than I wish there were more games coming out. Moving on to a game that is coming out, unless you had something to add.
I was going to say we're probably going to see a lot of those at E3, but that's later.
No, yeah, later. Before we get to E3, I would like to talk about a game coming out in June, a game that I am hyped up for like nothing else. This game actually trumps Metal Gear Solid 5 for me, because as much as I love Metal Gear Solid 5, I love Batman more.
It looks fantastic.
Dude, okay. When I first played Arkham Asylum, I thought, you cannot make a better game than this. This is the best superhero game I've ever played. And then I played Arkham City, which was even better. And I played Arkham Origins. That game got a bad rap. And I will say, play Arkham Origins, but make sure that you take a break from playing Arkham City before you play it, because it will feel like kind of the same thing going on. You're doing a lot of the same sort of like quests and with a different coat of paint, but you're getting an all new story, an origin story, if you will. But for Batman, man, we have the news of skins that broke out so far. The PlayStation exclusive skins for Batman are Justice League 3000, classic TV series, the old Adam West suit, and we're getting the classic TV Batmobile skin, which doesn't look like they're actually replacing the Batmobile with the old car. It looks like it's a kind of a fresh coat of paint to give it a different look. But of course, we also have a bunch of pre-order bonuses here, and there's going to be actually retailer-specific Batmobile skins, which essentially means eventually they're going to be available for purchase. Otherwise, that's what they did with Arkham City. They had skins for like the Batsuit skins. You can get them if you order at GameStop, Best Buy. I believe there was even a skin. The Batman Beyond skin was a exclusive for NOS energy drink.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Also coming out as exclusive to GameStop is the Red Hood Story Pack. And basically, people who pre-order it from GameStop will get access to play as Red Hood in an exclusive story, and he is the third confirmed playable character. Of course, now that is even more, because if you pre-order the game, I think if you just pre-order in general, you get to play as Harley Quinn. From GameStop, you get to play as Red Hood, and of course, they just announced where you'll be able to do the Switch character collect thing and team up stuff with Robin and Nightwing, and those two will be playable as well. And of course, there's the first actual extensive DLC got announced with the Batman. I don't know if there's an actual title for it yet, but you're playing as Batgirl, and that is Barbara Gordon. And
the Oracle story.
Yeah, essentially, yeah, the Oracle story. And there's a lot of thought going on that this could be the story of her getting paralyzed, kind of like from Killing Joke. So
that'd be interesting.
Oh, dude, it's awesome! I cannot wait to play as her. She is a big part of the entire series. Of course, helping out Batman out in the background. But this game is coming out. And it's coming out like right. It's like a month, bud.
Oh, I know.
It's like in a month, and I cannot wait. I am gonna. In fact, if you guys check out the Journey into Comics YouTube channel, I'm probably going to put up an unboxing of my limited edition. I didn't get the Batmobile one that was sold out in like 2 seconds, but
I know. Don't tell me. I'm still praying to find one. Like, I'm waiting for someone to be like, cancel, so I can get it.
Yeah, the Batmobile was cool. I wanted that really bad, but $200 is a lot of money to shell out. I really did want the statue of Batman. Now, I'm really hoping for a lot of new skins. Of course, that's one cool thing about these games is that they've already said, hey, we're releasing these skins. I want to see more outfit skins, especially since this is the last one from Rocksteady. I want to see the original Michael Keaton outfit from Batman or Batman Returns. I would love to see that. I would love to see the armor from Dark Knight Returns. Like from the new trailer, if you guys have seen the Batman v Superman Dawn of Justice trailer, he's in Ben Affleck is in the armor. We've already had the bat suit. We've already had the suit from that series appear in Arkham City, but the armor would be a nice touch.
Right.
Now, is there anything that you would like to see as far as like extra stuff, skins, or anything like that?
To be honest, I love everything about it. I mean, there's nothing really that I'm looking forward to seeing. I really want to play and see more in depth on this, playing with Robin and Catwoman and essentially maybe even Batgirl, since they're going to add the DLC. I'm assuming that they might put in a little section where you can have her assist you. And does this open the doors for a multiplayer city, essentially, where you can get out and play together as these different characters? That would be awesome.
That would be cool. I've said all along that this gameplay style would work magnificently with like a Justice League or even like an Avengers style setup where you can pick your character, have up to a couple characters, and you can fight alongside each other, even do team moves together. I think that would be fantastic.
Spider-Man.
Oh, yes, Spider-Man. You know what's funny is that I've been going back and listening to older episodes of the podcast, and I believe, did we mention the Spider-Man Rocksteady thing at the Nerds of the Roundtable episode that we did?
I don't think we did.
Okay, well, me and you have talked about that. Nate said that like a year ago, that they should do a Spider-Man Rocksteady game.
God, they should.
So, guys, the thought is out there. If anybody from Rocksteady ever listens to this, I doubt it. After you're done with Batman, I know you took a lot of clues from the Batman animated series for making this one. Maybe you can take some clues. Maybe you can kick up the old Spider-Man animated series and make a badass game out of that. What's cool? Well, see, what I like about that is that you could actually have a unique rolled up Spider-Man universe, just like they did with Batman here, where they created their own little pocket of universe. They have the Arkham universe. You could have the same thing with Spider-Man because there's so many characters to do the same thing with that they're doing with Batman.
Oh yeah, that would be amazing. And then even like I'm really pushing for this. I really wish that they would put it to where you can play together. Cooperative, single player would be a phenomenal thing.
Oh yeah, dude. Have one as Spider-Man, one as Venom.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was going off of. Is you play as Batman, and then I could jump in as Venom. Essentially, we have the exact same power. So you would not have to, polish or do anything. You would just change the way we perceive each other. That would be neat.
Yeah. Only you said Batman, not Spider-Man.
Yeah, Spider-Man. Well, I said I would like to do it with Spider-Man.
Right.
Spider-Man, It would be easier, but Batman, I would really like to see that with Batman because, I like Nightwing the best. I like Nightwing. He's a really good character. He's off on his own. He's unique.
Yeah, what's cool about this is that they're actually taking the Batman style, or the Arkham style, that just when you think they can't do more with it, they're like, oh man, you can't get better than this. Each one they've done, City, now Arkham Knight, they're adding to it and making it even bigger. So I cannot wait to see what this game is like, to play it. And I saw that little bit of a gameplay video, and honestly, I wish I wouldn't have watched it because it just made me want to play it even more.
Right. I know what you mean.
But yeah, those are only the main ones, the main story, new stuff that I could find that I really wanted to talk about. The Konami, the Nintendo, and Arkham. A lot of good news. There's a lot of good news coming for us gamers, and we're hoping that a lot of that good news is going to come at E3.
Yes.
Now, yeah, E3 always takes place in June, and the past couple of E3s have been really interesting. A couple years ago, they had the Xbox and Sony's press conferences for their Xbox One and PS4. That one was pretty much infamous. And last year was a little bit more of a letdown. Pretty much on all fronts, Nintendo took it last year. Now this year is very interesting. We have a lot more panels, a lot more conferences this year. And Mike, I just wanted to run down some of these with you and get your thoughts. And we're going to start off with Microsoft because Microsoft 2 years ago shot themselves in the foot with a rocket launcher.
Oh, yeah.
And it's kind of funny because Sony did the same thing with the PS3. For the first, I went back and watched their PS3 E3, and it was horrible. And while the Microsoft one was definitely had a better presentation, it's almost like they forgot who they were making this system for. They were thinking, oh, this is going to be the great addition to the living room, not, oh, gamers will really like to do this on top of gaming.
Well, yeah, it's a good way to try to market your product a little bit differently, but they didn't advertise anything new with the system other than, hey, you can talk to your Xbox, or Xbox go here, Xbox do this. That's great, but you're talking about a video game system. You need to still have the video game. Your video game stuff needs to be the number one priority, and that stuff needs to be set as a secondary, like, hey, also it does this. Mm-hmm. Not this is our focus. This is going to be the center of your living room. It's going to do your TV shows. It's going to do this and that. Well, gamers are like, well, I don't care. Where's my good gaming system? What did you bring new to me this year in this console?
Right, and it's pretty interesting because when Sony did this, they had to rely on their exclusives to really bring people back to their system. And Sony has pulled ahead from Microsoft with the PS4. They definitely got the advantage going forward. I think their sales are nearly double that of the Xbox One. The Xbox One is not a bad system. It's just, I would say it's a peg right underneath the PS4 as far as what it can do. I think its layout needs to be really fixed, and I think they need to get some really good games. And that's where we're going to go into this E3. Head of Xbox, Phil Spencer, says this year we're focusing on exclusives. Which is really funny when I say that, because the first game I wrote down that is probably going to be on their press conference is Call of Duty.
I think to be one of their big reveals is Battletoads.
Dude, okay, you just went right out of the box, right out from the gate. I was actually going to lead up to some stuff. I don't know if we're going to get a Battletoads yet. I think because they have other stuff, but I would love for them to come out and go, okay, hey guys, we're Microsoft. By the way, we are bringing back Battletoads, and that would just make people, crap their pants right there, in the conference hall. But I definitely think we're going to see some more Call of Duty. It seems like they have a really tight relationship with those guys for all your DLC stuff. That stuff still gets put to Xbox first, I think. If I remember correctly.
They renewed their contract to be exclusive, the 1 month exclusive.
Okay, so yeah, they're in tight with Call of Duty, so any new Call of Duty is definitely going to have some time on the Microsoft floor, but I also think we are definitely going to see some more from Quantum Break, which is one of Microsoft's new IPs that they're coming out with, that we saw some of a couple years ago, and it was supposed to come out this year. It got delayed until next year. I think they're going to, okay, guys, it got delayed. Here's some more of the game to whet your appetite. And, of course, this year we have the two big games coming out from them, Forza and Halo 5, which I think we're definitely going to see these games in force at E3. We're going to see trailers. I think they're going to ride the Halo banner. Like, guys, check us out. This is our Zelda right here. You're going to be seeing more of this fall. Check out this new trailer. Meanwhile, let us tell you what we're doing with the multiplayer. I think Halo is going to be the main event of their press conference.
It should be. That's their essentially their bread and butter. Like you said, their Zelda. That is their Zelda.
Mm-hmm. Now, other games that they've kind of led us to believe they're working on, the new Crackdown, we might see some more of that. The new Fable Legends type thing, where it's like multiplayer Legends or Fable, kind of weird, kind of I don't want to say a dungeon crawler, but it kind of looks like a dungeon crawler. It's kind of a weird mix. We'll have to see more about that. I think we will see Tomb Raider or Rise of the Tomb Raider here.
Yes.
I think we're going to see some stuff from that here, because that is, of course, one of their big exclusives that they paid for. Now, the funny thing about that is that, they've said, this is coming out on Xbox first. We can't tell you what other systems it's coming out on, but Microsoft is helping foot the bill for the making of this game. Makes me wonder do they mean that by saying we're not confirming that this won't be coming to PC, or will they still let that go to PS4?
I think they'll try to keep it in-house as much as possible. I mean, if they're fitting the majority of the bill, you might as well put it on, your PC.
Yeah, I mean, I think it'll go to PC, but that really raises, because we were all like, it'll go to PS4 eventually, and now I'm not so sure about that. It still might, but because originally I was like, what, I'll just buy it for PS4. Now I'm like, I might just go ahead and buy it on Xbox One.
Yeah, fingers crossed on coming to PS4. I mean, I really enjoyed the first Tomb Raider, but that if they've got the rights to it, the only way you're going to play it is, personally, as a gamer, I have a nice PC, so I would love to see it come to PC so I can still check the game out. But I don't know. I mean, I'd rather play it on a console, but
yeah, that's where you got your difference, is that the Microsoft side, a lot of their exclusives get shared with PC, and a lot of the PS4 exclusives do not. So that gives you an incentive to own a PS4. That would be one of my only gripes about the Xbox One is that games that they say are exclusive don't end up being truly exclusives. If you have another option, if you already have an awesome PC and you don't own an Xbox One, then what is your incentive to go out and buy that system?
That's what I was getting ready to touch base on. I mean, you've got to make your system sellable for, well, you can only play this game here, but Microsoft is like, well, we need to make a little bit more money. Instead of focusing on the system, they're focusing on the company, essentially, of Microsoft.
Yeah. And another thing I have down here is that we may see the new Gears of War, or like a teaser for it, because the rumor has it that a new Gears of War is in the works. Whether or not that is a sequel, reboot, who knows? But there's another rumor that we may be seeing, and I could totally see this, a Gears of War HD remastering for the Xbox One.
Oh, I would believe that.
Especially if they're saying, hey, we've got new Gears coming out. By the way, here are the 3 older ones, and they did a 4th one too, I think, or there's like an offshoot. It didn't star Phoenix. I think it starred the blonde-haired guy. I can't remember his name right now.
I've never been a Gear guy, so
they're not bad games. They're just repetitive. So that is the Microsoft lineup for what I have. There could be a few more things in there, like you said, Battletoads. I assume they're going to be showing off maybe something with the Kinect, because they're not letting that die yet. They still have some stuff coming out for it, and still put resources towards the Kinect. So to me, it sounds pretty good. I want to know more about Quantum Break. I definitely want to see more about Halo, because I'm not a huge Halo fan, but that new trailer they have out is really intriguing.
Oh yeah. It's cool because it shows you from both perspectives of, maybe in this one you can have 2 different campaigns, It looks interesting.
That, and definitely want to see more Tomb Raider, and I wouldn't mind seeing where they want to go in the future for Gears. Try and make that IP go forward and not just the same thing that they did. Because I kind of felt like the last... they did the first one, which I thought was great, and then the second 2 I thought were just, it could have been much more if they would have actually did more with it.
Well, what I understand is they barely enhanced the game, and they just made like a continuation of the story. They didn't say, here's some new stuff into the game, or nothing was drastic. It was kind of the same game, just a little bit more on the story.
I really felt like the first game was really cool with the multiplayer, how you actually had to go through the campaign, and they did sections where you had to help each other through the level. It couldn't just be like, oh, let's go through and shoot everything. It's like, no, you had to go this way so you could hold the light for me to get by, and then when I got through, I could clear the path for you to get by. And I really enjoyed that, and I wanted to see more with that. But yeah, Gears of War 2 felt like Gears of War 1.5 to me. And Gears of War 3, that game did a few things to help with the gameplay, but honestly, at the end of the day, I felt like it was more kind of like, as you said, a story expansion, which the story isn't bad with those games, but it's also not like their super strong point either. It's more about all the over-the-top action. Which,
right.
Hey, you know what? Those games are fun to play, but after a while, you sort of get wore out on them. The next conference I want to talk about with you, and this is going to be a really big one for you and me, Square Enix.
Ooh.
Square Enix. And I'm just going to go down the list here. If you have something to say, chime in.
We should do it by IPs. Like every time you do an IP, let's just talk about that.
Well, okay, because the first one I have down here is the new Deus Ex that they own the rights to now. So they'll be putting that game out. I believe it's called Deus Ex Mankind Divided, coming out for Xbox One, PS4, and PC.
Huh.
They also have Just Cause 3 that is coming out, which I don't know if you played the Just Cause series. I did play Just Cause 2. I didn't get into it because other people in my household were playing it at the time. Because back when I had roommates, I don't know about you, Mike, but when I had roommates, it was really hard for multiple people to play the same game.
Well, us being on such, on a different schedule as everyone else, it's not so bad now as it was when I was on days. When
I was living with Rob and Wes, man, there's a reason why I waited like a year to play Arkham Asylum, because both those guys were playing it, and I was like, man, I'm just getting spoiled left and right here. But, Just Cause 3. I think that's going to be a really big action game for Square. I think it's going to do a lot of good things for them. It's a big open world action game, and the unique way to get around in that game is, of course, that kind of hook shot type of thing. And to make that game bigger and better, Just Cause 2, I think it's a good thing for Square, and I think it's a good thing, and I'm actually half tempted to check it out.
Well, it's off the beaten path of Square. I mean, when you think of Square, what's the first thing that pops into your head?
RPGs.
Final Fantasy RPGs, and it's cool to see them out branching a little bit and doing something different than their RPGs.
I kind of feel like that they are becoming, and I dare not say the name, but kind of like a Ubisoft EA, where they own multiple different developers under their umbrella. So now they're not just the RPG guys. They have Tomb Raider, they have Just Cause, they have Hitman. They've got a couple. Then they helped start up Arkham Asylum with Warner Brothers before Warner Brothers decided to make their own gaming division. Square Enix was involved with that, so I really think that they really put their focus on a lot of different things, and that's great because now they can have, okay, here's all these games that these Western developers want, or Western fans. Now we can start making RPGs that appeal to that audience, but also still we can make stuff for core RPG fans. The next game, Kingdom Hearts 3. I think we're going to see stuff from Kingdom Hearts 3. I think it's time.
Oh, it's time. It's definitely time for some Kingdom Hearts 3 gameplay. For sure.
I'd love to see more gameplay. I want to know stuff about the story. I want to know what kind of worlds we'll be going to. They've done so many Disney movies since the second one. I mean, literally, and this could be like a grown-up's nightmare, because if you have kids, which you don't, but I know some people who have kids, and all they do is sing that song from Frozen.
Oh, God.
And so we could definitely see a Frozen world in Kingdom Hearts 3, although I really hope they won't do that to us. But what I really like about Kingdom Hearts is that they take something that is, it's good for adults and it's good for kids as well.
Right.
Because it's a little violent, but it's not crazy gory violence. The next one, Final Fantasy 15. I think we're going to see more of that, especially since the demo this year.
Well, as they've said, that is not the Final Fantasy 15 demo they put out is not what their final product is going to be. That they actually took in a lot of player input, and they're going to tweak it to be more along the lines that the gamers want. And personally, I love that, because that means that we're going to get a game that is almost hitting exactly where the RPGers want it to be.
I definitely feel like if we see anything from it, it's going to be on more of a grand scale. I think we're going to see, we could see another gameplay demo, but I think they're going to do something to try and make it seem like the game is even bigger than what you think it is. The next game I have up for Square, this isn't on a list of actual games that have been listed out, but I think they might show something from Bravely Second.
I think they will.
Considering that game is either out now or it's coming out in Japan, so they want to kind of hype it up to come out in the West, because the first one did so well over here that I definitely think we're going to see something from it.
I definitely enjoyed it. It was originally slotted to be Final Fantasy X on the PlayStation, and I bought it for the 3DS right whenever you told me, hey, that this is this and this, and I was like, oh, I'm buying it. And I went out and bought it and played it, and I love it. It's a fantastic game.
Yeah, I still haven't got to it yet, but there's a lot of games that I haven't got to yet.
About 560.
Now come on, now the real numbers, like the total number overall is 632, but
I'm saying
it could be
games you haven't played.
Well, okay, I call it BS because I played all of them. I just haven't beat all of them.
Testing, you don't know the story to all 630 games.
I know enough, damn it. All right. I definitely think that the main event of Tomb Raider will be shown at Microsoft, but I do think Square, if they're having their own thing, will show stuff from the new Tomb Raider as well. Maybe they'll. I don't know if they're working on a multiplayer I know the first one had multiplayer.
It wasn't very good.
Yeah, I don't know if they're going to try and implement that, make it better. Who knows? But I definitely think they're going to mention it and go, oh, by the way, in case you missed it at Microsoft, we got Tomb Raider here because we own it, and we're going to talk about it.
Right. Well, here's the thing that I want to add to the E3 Square Enix block is, I know me and you touched base about this very, very briefly. The new thing that they're doing with having other companies or other game creators come into their company and say, hey, we would like to do this game. You think that they'll reveal any of that during E3?
Possibly. They could. And I know that a lot of people might say, oh, dude, what if Kojima goes over there, after he leaves Konami and does something with him? And I think that'd be great. But honestly, I don't think we're going to get any Kojima announcement about what he's doing until after he's officially done. I don't think that he's going to do that. I think that, he's enough of a man to go and finish his project with Konami and then part ways. And then I think he's going to... I think that son of a bitch is going to tease us for like a year about what he's doing and then eventually reveal something. Because we mentioned on this show before how much of a troll he is and how much he likes to play with his fans. So I definitely would like to see something about that or mentioned, and maybe even like some show maybe not even like a full trailer of a game, but maybe show like something of some stuff that they've been thinking about. And I'd like to see something from that. The next conference that I want to talk about is Ubisoft. Not a lot here really that I saw that was really interesting. I think one of the big things that they're going to be talking about is the big game they got coming out for the fall is The Division. Yeah. I think we're going to see even more of that. Of course, they also have Rainbow Six Siege coming out. And then just recently, as this week, the Assassin's Creed Victory actually got revealed as being named, not from Ubisoft, but from somebody else who leaked it, of course, it's our age. Yeah. Assassin's Creed Syndicate. It's coming out this year for Xbox One, PS4, and PC. And this is, of course, being taken place during the Victorian era London, kind of like the same era as the Order 1886. Right. So, probably without all the Zeppelins, though. Yeah. But, okay, I don't want to dog on Assassin's Creed too much because I really enjoy the damn series.
Up to a certain point.
Okay, I mean, I haven't played, Unity. I haven't played Unity, and I've heard that it's just now getting to a point, where it's a lot of the major bugs are fixed with it, so I would like to play through it at some point. I also want to play through Rogue because I want to get that last part of that, Assassin's Creed 3 and 4 saga. This game kind of takes place in between those two. But it comes to a point when you put out a game every year, where you get franchise fatigue. And I really feel like Assassin's Creed for me has definitely achieved that. And as much as I want this game to kick ass, I think it's time to... I think they need to take a break. Have a year where Assassin's Creed game does not come out.
I think so too. I think they need to take some time to really fine-tune that product, because it's to the point now they're wanting to put a new one out every year, and it's just getting worse.
Well, last year they put out two of them, and Unity came out on Xbox One, PS4, PC, and then Rogue came out on PS3, 360, and Rogue was a better game. I'm not saying it was a better story, but put together, because they tried to do new stuff with Unity, and it just wasn't complete. It had bugs, it had problems, and as a result, the Rogue game ended up kind of having a better, a better mindset towards the gamers. So that's the better game to play right now, because Unity still has its issues. I hope they do not release Syndicate in the same state. I'll be very disappointed if they do. I don't think I'm going to be picking up Syndicate because I missed Unity, and I still have no real big desire to go back and play it yet. Maybe I kind of feel like they've lost their way with the stories line as well. Be honest with you,
they killed off the Desmond way too fast.
I agree, and even though I absolutely loved Assassin's Creed 4. I think 4 is the second best, if not the best, overall gameplay. And in fact, I think it is the best gameplay out of all of them. Storyline wise, it's hard to beat the Ezio trilogy.
Yeah.
But I mean, as far as I'm concerned, it's like I have no real desire to go back to it, other than to maybe play Rogue to kind of fill in the gap. As far as Ubisoft goes, yeah, I think Division's going to be the main one. We might see some Far Cry DLC. They might have something coming out to try and extend the life of, was it Far Cry 4 that came out last year?
Yeah, and it got all really good reviews. Everybody that's played it has liked it.
Yeah, apparently from what I heard is that if you like Far Cry 3, this is like, pretty much the same game, but a few things here and there are tweaked, and maybe 3 had a little bit better story, but 4 has a better villain. I haven't heard any bad things about it, let's put it that way.
Right.
Been mostly positive. Now, moving on to the next conference, we are halfway through now, I think. Bethesda is having their very first conference. In fact, I also want to say that Bethesda is having the first conference of the year. Microsoft isn't first anymore, pal.
What?
Yeah. Bethesda's conference will be on Sunday night at 10 p.m. Eastern.
Wow.
Because Microsoft always goes on Monday morning. Because it usually goes Microsoft, EA, Ubisoft, Sony. And then Nintendo goes on Tuesday. And that's when, by the way, that's when Square's going on Tuesday. A lot of these guys haven't confirmed their times yet. But, yeah, Bethesda will be going first. So that's awesome because I'll actually be able to see the, their little conference there, because they've got some stuff brewing. In fact, let's kind of break it down here. I assume they're going to plug their Wolfenstein DLC. Wolfenstein, I've heard some people say it wasn't that great. I've heard other people say that it was a sleeper hit from last year. It had no multiplayer. It was just a straight single-player shooter. And from what I've heard, that as far as that goes, you can do no better than last year if you want a single-player campaign than Wolfenstein. So take that for what it is. They are coming out with a new Doom. So
that'll be interesting.
I'll definitely be interested to see how that pans out. I assume they're going to plug ESO, Elder Scrolls Online, coming out on console.
Well, yeah, that, and they've had a lot of DLC for ESO.
Mm-hmm.
A lot.
I have heard, though, I was listening to the All Gen Gamers podcast, that I've heard that their community, their online community, is shrinking a little bit on PC.
All MMOs are shrinking right now. Blizzard just announced that they lost, I think it was over 3 million.
3 million, and well, I mean, because they had a big boost from the last DLC.
Yeah, but they've lost a big chunk of it, and it's just MMOs they're starting to die off a little bit. Unfortunately, being a large MMO player.
And I've heard rumors that they're that ESO on the console, that you're going to be able to have a single player experience.
Yeah, I've heard a little bit on that, but I'm interested to see how that'll go, because playing it on the PC, you can still have the single player experience the whole time, but it's just like there's other people there with you that if they choose to help you, they can help you if they choose not to. So, take it with a grain of salt.
Right. Now, the other big, this has not been confirmed. Actually, sort of has been, sort of not. We have to assume that Bethesda will be showing Fallout 4.
Yes.
I mean, this is their big one, because you can arguably say that besides Skyrim, this is like Fallout is their or Elder Scrolls. Fallout is their second IP that has a massive following, and honestly, it's mainly because of Fallout 3. Fallout New Vegas was developed by Obsidian. Fallout 4 is the main Elder Scroll team coming back to Fallout, bringing in that Skyrim engine that they created, putting that in Fallout. I'm hoping that they learn from the other teams that they have to try and make the shooting mechanic more shooter and less. In Fallout 3, it really felt kind of like more of an RPG shooter.
Right.
So it wasn't as accurate. But it's kind of like what Rockstar did with Grand Theft Auto. They had Red Dead, they had Max Payne, they had the shooting of those games down, and they brought that over to Grand Theft Auto 5 to make the shooting mechanic. There's a shooting mechanic from those two games meshed in to Grand Theft Auto, and then you have a really great third-person action shooter. I'm really hoping that they take some of the Wolfenstein, Doom, have those guys come in to help them tweak out the code for the Fallout shooting mechanic. Because I'll be honest, I fell in love with Fallout 3. I didn't fall in love with New Vegas. I didn't play enough of it. Fallout 3 was a great world. It was just, it's something else when you walk out of that vault and you see the Washington Monument or in the distance just barely standing up. That's an awesome visual. But there's a big rumor about this game, pal.
What's this big rumor?
That it's going to be shown behind closed doors only.
Huh.
Now, if that is true, then, and I wasn't banking on this anyway, because there's that idea that they could come out and rock the place, start E3 off of the bank saying, Fallout 4, check out this trailer, and you're blown away, and they're like, by the way, it's coming out in October.
That would be huge for them.
I mean, it would be massive. But if that rumor's true about them showing it behind closed doors, it's not coming out this year.
To be honest, I assume that because HD remixes have been the big thing to kind of fill the void that we have of new games coming out. I think we're going to see an HD Skyrim coming out.
I was thinking the exact same thing. I think Skyrim it did so well on the last gen that you are going to have enough diehard fans to rebuy that game. I think, honestly, there are fans that I've talked to, they want to see Morrowind redone.
That would be cool.
There's even some people who say that they want to see Oblivion get the HD thing, but I think Skyrim is the most plausible simply because it would take the least amount of work.
Yeah, I mean, all you really have to do is polish it. Yep.
So I could definitely see them, ESO coming out. Oh yeah, by the way, guys, Skyrim HD being, and what's cool about that is that you could take that game and just give it to another company, another developer under your umbrella and say, work on this and make it look awesome on the PS4 and Xbox One PC, and then they'll go okay and they'll go to work on it, and it's almost like you're just farming it out. Meanwhile, all your main team and stuff like that is focused on Fallout. So that's Bethesda. Honestly, unless they have anything more, I must have missed it. I definitely think we're going to get... now, we may see Fallout, we may see a trailer, but I think actual gameplay, maybe... if there's... I don't know, because I just can't see them saying, oh, by the way, we're having our first press conference and not have Fallout 4 in it.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, that would be a huge title to release this year, to be like, you started off, like you said, you started off as... hey, look, this is our first conference. By the way, Fallout 4. Oh, also, October is when it's coming out. And that it would just be like, oh, wow, we had no idea. We've heard rumors, and then all of a sudden you're just throwing it out there on the plate saying, here it is.
Yeah, I don't think it's coming out this year either way. That would be a big shock to me, and it would be a welcome shock. Yeah. I would be all over that. But honestly, I think it's going to come out in the fall of next year. That's when I would slate it. But that's Bethesda's lineup there. EA. Now, I have written down here, and we've already seen a lot from it, but I think we're going to see more Battlefront.
Yeah, oh, yes. That's going to be... yeah, they have to at this point. I mean, they did the whole closed doors viewing of the trailer that later got released to us. Mm-hmm. And I think in this trailer... you're going to see actual gameplay, because all they showed in the other one was gameplay engined.
Yeah. It was basically a cutscene design with the in-game engine, and so we know what the game is going to look like, but we don't know exactly how it's going to play. I would like to see some actual gameplay, some vehicle mechanics shown. Since it's coming out this year, I would like to see that.
That'd be nice.
Also from Star Wars, we could be seeing a brand new title be revealed. Probably not. I think it's going to probably, if anything, it could be hinted at, and they may not even touch on it at all. And that is a new Star Wars game being developed by Visceral Games. Those are the guys that made Dead Space and Dante's Inferno and some other stuff. But basically all we know about it is that it's an open world game. And so, yeah, we could see more about that.
That's interesting. I mean, it's very little detail to go off of, but it being a Star Wars game and being open world, that lets the mind just kind of wander into, oh, well, this would be great, or, maybe another KOTOR. Dare I say a new KOTOR.
I would love to see a new KOTOR 3. BioWare, get to work. We are going to see Mirror's Edge. I feel like we're going to see Mirror's Edge.
Yeah.
I think Mirror's Edge 2, and I also think we are finally going to see a trailer for the new Mass Effect.
Cross your fingers on that one.
I definitely crossed my fingers on that one. Last year was a tiny bit of a reveal. Of course, there was a big leak. Me and you have talked about this, about Mass Effect. I'm not going to go into big detail about that leak. Basically, it was a leak about story details and whatnot.
Possible.
Possible story details. However, with this exact same leak, it was like a survey leak that certain people took. That same kind of leak happened to Dragon Age Inquisition, and it was 100% correct. It was right on the money. So, if this is true, I think they're going to be getting a trailer ready, and I think for both Mirror's Edge 2 and Mass Effect, I think we're going to get release date windows. I don't think we're... if anything, I don't want to give any game a release date anymore. I just want to give a window. Because anytime you say, hey, this is coming out, March 12th of next year, and then they're like, never mind, we're moving it to October. It's like, why even give a date? Just say spring of next year, and then you could go, okay, guys, we're pushing it back to then. By the way, now we have a real date.
Well, when you look what got pushed back, Batman.
Yeah.
And the more it gets pushed back, the more they start revealing. And if this is the stuff they've added into the game just because they pushed it back, I'm okay with that. Like, you can push it back, with these games now, they're getting pushed back and pushed back. Us, the gamers, are frustrated, but the end result is a much better game. And, if that's what you have to take it with, I'm okay with, 6-month pushback on almost every game, as long as they're really tweaking it and making it a phenomenal game. Not an 8, but they're giving it that 9.5 or a 10.
Mm-hmm. Basically, kind of what happened to Watch Dogs, where it got pushed back, and it was sort of not a bad game, but didn't live up to what they were originally hyping it up to be.
Right.
Now, from EA, the next one that I think that we're probably going to see a trailer for is Titanfall 2. And the big news for this is that Titanfall is going to be multi-plat.
They said that before, that they were only going to do the first Titanfall on Xbox One, and then they were going to switch it over to multi-plat.
I definitely feel like Titanfall 2... Now, see, the thing about Titanfall is the gameplay looked awesome.
Right.
From everybody I've heard from, I played the game, said, it's awesome, dude. But there's a problem. That's no campaign. I think you need a single-player campaign. I'm not a shooter multiplayer guy. I go on there, and people are just a bunch of dickholes. I don't want to mess with them. I want to play the story. I want to feel the gameplay, not the online aspect. So in order for me to buy Titanfall 2, it's got to have a campaign on it.
I think that this time they will. I know that's been a large complaint where you're basically thrown into a multiplayer world, and some of these people might have been playing it before you. You don't know what's going on. You're just you basically have to have that. I'm a hardcore first-person shooter. You jump into it, you can kind of survive and slowly learn the additional things that Titanfall brings to the table. But a lot of people were very upset with the game of just being like, here you go. And the campaign has to be played. It has a story, but you have to win to get the story. And
What's funny is that I've heard a guy I watch on YouTube, and he was also on the All Gen Gamers podcast until recently. He just left. Bye, Metal Jesus. I'll miss you. He just recently got into the Call of Duty campaigns, like all the old ones. He played. He bought a Call of Duty on the PS3, played the campaign, and he loved it, and it made him want to go out and buy all the other ones to play their campaigns. And he was saying that these campaigns, there's so much detail put into them, and they're really good. And on the flip side of that, some of the Battlefield campaigns have not been that good. It seems like the campaigns are there just to train you for multiplayer, but it seems like Call of Duty every year seems to put at least some effort into making an entertaining campaign because they know that there are players out there. Even though they gear and they market everything towards multiplayer, there are players out there who will buy the game just to play the campaign.
Right.
And,
They at least give you 6 to 8 hours.
and what's cool about that is that it's not going to keep you engrossed for forever. It's quick. It's like you're in a Michael Bay movie almost. It's just so crazy. So it's entertainment, it's a different level of gaming that maybe I'm into. But it would be kind of cool, especially for when you get a little bit older, you have kids, you're busier. To pop, like, dude, I just want to play a shooter. It's pop in Call of Duty. I can play the campaign for a couple hours, and it's like, okay, put it down. That's something that there's an audience for that. That's what I'm saying, basically.
Yeah.
And the rest of EA stuff, sports. I assume we're going to see more sports stuff, but that's it for EA. I'm going to move on to. I'll quickly move on to other games and leave the last two guys for last. I didn't get everybody, but there is a resurgence this year of some of the music games. Guitar Hero and Rock Band are coming back this year. They've both said that they are not going to be milking these franchises, so we're not going to see yearly entries into these titles. They're going to be supported by DLC, which Rock Band was always good about. They did Rock Band, and a couple years later, Rock Band 2, Rock Band 3, and they had thousands of songs on DLC. It's crazy. Guitar Hero was every year, a new one. So I've seen the early track list for Guitar Hero live, and I'm not impressed. It doesn't seem like that there are that many Guitar Heroes in there. I like the concept of it, of you being in front of a live crowd, and it's like real live footage, and they're reacting to you.
Right.
I like that aspect. Rock Band 4, they said they are keeping it Rock Band. Guitar Hero, they're sort of reinvigorating they have a new controller, new button layout. Rock Band said they're more focused on trying to keep the Rock Band vibe, the party game vibe. It's like, no, this game is designed for when you have friends over, you pull out the instruments, you play together.
Right.
And they said we are keeping that. They said when you play this game, it's going to feel like Rock Band that you know. So there's two different ways of going about this. Of course, the guys that make Rock Band now are the original guys that make Guitar Hero. And it's kind of funny that both games are coming out this year. I don't know where they're going to lie or where they're going to fall in the E3, if they're going to be mentioned in any of the conferences. As I said, they could pop up on Sony. Microsoft looks kind of full from what I can see for stuff they're going to be talking about. Borderlands 3 is going to be probably be shown. Of course, they just released the Borderlands HD remix, the pre-sequel, and Borderlands 2.
Yeah.
And I've even heard that they're going to be adding Borderlands 1 digitally to the PSN and Xbox Live, so that way you can have the full trilogy. So Borderlands 3, No Man's Sky, which has gotten a lot of press at the last, that could probably be on PlayStation as well. See more of that. But speaking of PlayStation, Sony, we're going to go right into them. First things first, we're going to see more of Uncharted 4.
Oh, yeah. With them pushing it back, you've got to show more to build your hype.
Yeah, and what sucks is that we've already seen gameplay. Or like, it was a PlayStation Experience that we saw some gameplay.
Yeah.
And that looked awesome.
It
I
did.
cannot wait to see more gameplay from Uncharted 4. We're definitely going to see it. My guess is at E3 we're probably going to get a definite release date. Since they pushed it back into next year, they're going to give them more time. I don't think they want to push it back any farther.
No.
So I think we're looking at maybe a March-April window.
Yeah, because that's the only Sony exclusive that you have built up right now. You can't keep pushing it back like that. You've got to have it. You got to have it come out next year.
Especially with the time window, they don't want to be too close to the Halo or stuff like that, but they also don't want to be too far away. They want to stay in competition. There's another new PlayStation game that we'll probably see some of. It's called Until Dawn. It's like this new game where it's like flashlight mechanics where you have a flashlight, it's on the dark. Looks interesting. I've seen the game before. I haven't heard much about it. Before we started up, I realized I left a game out. I don't know how much we'll see of it, but the God of War 3 HD coming out in July, I think. So I think they'll probably go, hey, by the way, we're Sony, God of War, it's coming out next month.
A real short clip.
Now, I really, really want to see some new IPs from these guys. Apparently they have every single studio they own working on something for PS4, and I think we're going to see some more of those. I don't think they're going to announce them beforehand because they're brand new or they're reimaginations of older ones. We could see Ratchet and Clank because I heard they're redoing Ratchet and Clank. I do think we're going to see Persona 5.
Oh yeah,
which is coming out exclusive on the PlayStation. I think this is where we're going to see our Batman Arkham Knight stuff because Arkham Knight will be coming out. I want to say the week after this.
There should be
after
E3.
Yeah, dude. Okay, yeah. Arkham Knight will be coming out exactly 1 week after E3. So I think we're going to be seeing some more of Arkham Knight. This is where they've shown Metal Gear Solid stuff, so we'll probably see some last minute hype for Metal Gear Solid. As I said, I think they're really going to put on some multi-plat stuff here, kind of what they've been doing. Meanwhile, sprinkling in some of their exclusives. I don't know how much Vita coverage that we're going to get. The Vita's fallen off. However, I'm not going to put down the Vita. It's a great system, and if you love RPGs, the Vita has a buttload of them. Go ahead.
To touch base on that, I think I cross my fingers. Last of Us 2.
By the way.
I would love to see another one of those because that game, it took me by surprise. Like, I was expecting it to be, a kind of a casual play, not you get, 3 hours into the game and you're like, okay, I'm up for the rest of the night until I beat this. Like, it grabs you and you're just like, this is unbelievable. Like, the story in it, it's like playing a movie is what it is, and I love that. It's a survival movie that you get to control.
Oh yeah. Who knows? Maybe we'll see a little teaser at that. I don't think it'll be more than a teaser though. But that's Sony's. Sony seems a little light, but I think it's obviously because they're really going to be pushing Persona 5, Batman, Uncharted 4. They've got a couple of big hitters in there, and they're going to have some smaller ones spread throughout. Now we're going to go to the last one on the list here, Nintendo.
I know why you saved that for last.
I saved it for last because Nintendo in the last 2 years, or just 1 year, they've been doing their conference via Nintendo Direct, which they haven't had an official conference there at E3. It's all just been, they had the games on the floor, and then they do the Nintendo Direct, and everybody just watches it on their Wii U or 3DS or on the internet.
Right.
And so I think we are going to see Mario Maker's coming out in September, so they're going to pimp that out. They're going to show you even more of what you can do with Mario Maker. Xenoblade Chronicles X also comes out that fall, September. I think we're going to see even more of that. Yoshi's Woolly World comes out in the fall, which that game, from a design and graphical standpoint, looks kiddie, but I think from a platforming aspect is going to be really entertaining and fun.
I hope.
It has a lot of, yeah. Oh, me too, buddy. Me too, because I really enjoyed playing Kirby's Epic Yarn. It was something different, and I hope that they can kind of keep that going with Yoshi's. I think we're going to see stuff from Star Fox finally.
Yeah, it's supposed to come out this year, so we haven't seen anything on it. I mean, other than very small details, like, nothing has been, this is what you're going to get. This is, we think this is what's going to happen, but we're not going to tell you.
Yeah, I don't know if it's going to come out this year now because they haven't really. The only thing they said is that this game was going to be out before Zelda, and Zelda got pushed into next year, which makes me wonder how much of Zelda are they going to show off here. If it's coming out next year, we don't know when next year, so it could be next fall. It could be 2016 in the fall.
Right.
Who knows? But I think we're going to see something from Zelda, and then of course we're going to get a lot of Amiibo stuff coming out. They're
Of
going to
course.
remind us about all the amiibo news. One of the big games that got coming out for the 3DS is the new Fire Emblem. I think we're going to see some more of that. And then they've also, at the couple of Nintendo Directs ago, they finally showed footage from Shin Megami Tensei Cross Fire Emblem, which, if nobody knows what Shin Megami Tensei, that is a RPG series that basically birthed the Persona series.
Yeah.
So it is almost kind of like, like the subtitle to Persona or, whatever. And because there's so many games under the Shin Megami Tensei umbrella, Persona, there's another one I'm thinking of, Nocturne. They had one that just came out to 3DS that got released this week or last week. And
I can't think of it.
I can't think of the name. No, I can't. So I think we're going to see some more of that. The thing is about the Nintendo Directs is that they are going to show what they have planned out. I think they are going to give us something special for Star Fox. And then they're going to sprinkle in a little bit of Zelda at the end, just to whet your appetite.
The big question for me is, are we going to see some Metroid?
Honestly, buddy, I don't know.
I hope that they release something, at least anything of, hey, we are pursuing this, not like they did before, like, oh, we're thinking about doing a new Prime style, and we're going to do a 2D style.
Well, from what I understand, both those games are currently in development.
So
they could show something, or they could just wait. They might feel like they don't have enough to show you, or they might feel like there's too much here. They could show it at one of the other game cons coming up, like Gamescom, or I'm trying to think of the other one, the Tokyo Game Show.
Yeah,
we could see something there. Who knows? Maybe we'll get a little bit of a hint that they're working on it, but I don't know, bud.
I mean, I'm a huge Metroid fan, and it's been a long time coming.
All right, so that's it. That's all of the E3 stuff.
Yep.
Now, what's funny is that until I wrote all this out, you don't realize how much is slated.
A lot.
And it's a lot more than what you really think. Because as you and me have talked, and we mentioned earlier, you're frustrated because there's no games out. But then when you sit down and I started typing up all these, I'm like, there's a lot more games coming out. Maybe I don't have a lot of interest in every single one of them.
Right.
But there's a huge library of stuff on the horizon. And if you had to pick one, like one of these conferences that you're really interested in seeing, which one are you gonna pick?
Well, obviously I'm a big Nintendo fan, so I look forward to Nintendo. But I think the Bethesda one is piquing my interest the most because they have a lot of good IPs under their belt. Mm-hmm. So, reviving Skyrim and putting it on PS4, I'll be buying that. If that happens, I'll buy it. There's hands down.
Your hands are kind of tied with that, aren't they?
Yeah, she has to have it. But I would like to see it myself. And
I really wish I had that button of her, which I need to make.
Yeah.
Because that would have been perfect to place in for Skyrim.
Yes.
I need to get that made up before the 50th episode so we can just kind of spam that.
She's played through that game so many times. She has so many characters.
If I had to pick one now, honestly, if you know me, and I am so looking forward to Batman. But by that time, nothing I see on this am I going to be like, oh my god, that's crazy. So I'm already going to be already hyped.
Right.
But I want to play Uncharted 4 so badly because I could not believe how much I liked that series. I bought the first two on a whim. I got 1 and 2 for like $20 together, and said, you know what? If I hate it, I'm out $20, and I could sell them.
Right.
And I played through the first one. I'm like, this is a pretty good game. I got nothing else to do. Let's play the second one, and I fell in love with it to the point where I had to go out and buy the third one, which was still $60 because it had just come out a month prior. And I played through them back to back to back and could not believe how good, how funny, how just they wrap all these different things together, and I really want to see what they're doing. There's another part of me that says, now, Brandon, you are such a Mass Effect mark.
Yeah. Yeah.
That if they say anything about Mass Effect, you're just going to have a big mess in your pants. And yes, that's true. But that doesn't mean that I'm looking forward to the entire E3 conference. If I had to pick one conference, I'm going to pick Microsoft.
Really?
I want to know what they're doing. I want to see what they're doing. They have my interest simply because you have a guy in charge over there who is so desperately wants to revive that brand and make it more appealing. And by doing so, by saying, hey, these are games you can only get on the Xbox One. Now, granted, for right now, some of those games are going to do that and go over to PC. But still, when you have a company that is like saying, hey, we are dedicated and trying to search and create new IPs, new exclusive games that you cannot get anywhere else. That's what made me excited about, the PlayStation back when, in an era when nobody was wanting to play PlayStation and everybody switched over to Microsoft. They had created the Uncharted, they created Infamous, they created The Last of Us, they created Little Big Planet. They have all these different IPs that they created to try and pique interest, and I want to see Microsoft do the same thing. I want to see them continue to make right by the consumer for their wrongs that they tried to do, and it seems like that Phil in charge is an amazing thing because he is a gamer. He gets it. He gets it. He is not in this to put Sony out of business. He's not in this to put Nintendo out of business. He gets the gamers. He gets what they want. And he's trying to make it to the point where Microsoft has at least one of every major sort of style or a category of game.
Yeah.
Your racing, your shooter, your action. That's the reason why they got Tomb Raider, because they didn't have an action game like Uncharted on their system. And they could create a new IP and create something, but then there was the offer there, hey, Tomb Raider. We worked very closely with Square to create the first Tomb Raider. We gave them, the time and spot to show it off. Let's get involved with Tomb Raider. That is a classic IP that goes back into the 90s.
Yep.
I want to see what they're doing, and I want to see more of that. So Microsoft is where, the entire conference, I'm going to be eyeing that thing like a hawk. I hope they don't disappoint. Last year didn't really disappoint, but there wasn't a whole lot of new stuff to talk about, although they didn't spend the entire time talking about TV or sports.
Yeah.
Which, kind of funny, last year, Sony was like, hey, check out this new TV series we're working on.
Which is pretty good, by the way. I like it.
I still haven't watched it.
It's good. But to touch base on Microsoft's, now me and you have talked about this. Do you, since you are going to allow the games for PC to be played for free, do you make Xbox Live multiplayer free?
Free. And that is the question of the day, because there's still rumors about this. Now, if I were Microsoft, the Xbox division here, I totally would do it.
Oh yeah, because you're putting a lot of pressure on Sony when you do that. I mean, hey, you should come to us because you can play with your friends for free.
Mm-hmm.
See, nobody's got that right now, and to do that, it's like now you're pushing Sony to make it free.
Just like it was on the PS3. Now,
Yep.
What's funny is that Sony made waves by making the PSN free. And what's funny is that everybody was talking, oh, dude, online's much better on Microsoft. And for the most part, it sort of wasn't for me, if you remember.
Yeah, we had a lot of trouble connecting, and
I mean, for party chat, they had party chat, and that's about it.
right.
The online components of Sony, to me, was no different other than you had to use the in-game chat.
Right.
And if that's the only problem, not paying for it was the way to go. Because when we tried to play online on the Xbox 360, I couldn't have been more frustrated. For them to come through and say, hey, guess what, guys? You can play Call of Duty, Halo 5, Forza, online for free starting now. Anybody who already has a subscription, here's what we're going to do with the subscriptions. You can play it out. You can say, you can start making it have where you still give away your free games every month, and you get, if you have Xbox Live when Call of Duty comes out, then you get exclusive something,
Right.
to make it.
Go ahead.
No, I was just going to say make the subscriptions more of a incentive, not a have.
Right, and by doing this, I mean that's Microsoft's number one play, in my opinion, is now you're going to have people going, well, why would I, people that don't own a console are going to be like, well, why would I buy a PlayStation?
Mm-hmm.
I can buy a Xbox and play with people that have an Xbox for free instead of paying for it, which you have to on the PSN.
Yep. And what you said about the PC guys, they're linking in Xbox Live to where into the PC and getting rid of what was it, Windows Live?
Right.
To where if you're on the PC, you'll be able to play with people across the platform on the Xbox One. That is amazing.
Yes.
And that is something that both companies, Sony and Microsoft, have been against in the past. But I think if we talked about Microsoft having the games exclusive to exclusive to Xbox, exclusive to the PC. Not everybody wants to sit in front of their PC and play the game. They want to sit on their couch with a controller and play the game and relax. So if they're not going to go exclusive, games on one console and they're going to come out on the PC, I think this is a great way to integrate those two systems together.
Yes, and Square has done a little bit with that when they did Final Fantasy XIV, and it did really well because it opened it up for everybody to play.
Yeah. By the way, I saw a PS4 Final Fantasy XIV limited edition. It's still sealed at Disc Replay yesterday.
Shh! Don't say that.
It's been said, pal. It's been said.
You're so mean. So mean.
I know. But honestly, I think that's it, pal. We went through everything. I'm looking forward to Microsoft. You want to see what Bethesda has coming up. I think we covered almost all of our bases.
I think we did too.
Now, I want to let the viewers, all of my listeners know here that are listening to the Journey into Comics podcast that the one and only Westicles will be joining me the weekend after E3, after it's all wrapped up, and I'm gonna save this list that me and Mike have talked about, and we're gonna go through it and see what games were in fact talked about, what weren't talked about. Was the Microsoft press conference as good as I'm hoping it's going to be, or was I blown away by somebody else? Who knows? But me and Westicles are going to definitely break that down and do a review in another Brando cast. But also the weekend before E3 will be the Journey into Comics 50th episode. Not only that, but it'll be one day removed from my 1 year anniversary of joining the podcast. And we're planning an extravaganza we want to have, and as we proved last week, we can have a lot of people on the show at once. However, everybody was sort of spread out. This time, it's looking like we're all going to be in the same room, which could be chaotic.
I think it's going to be chaotic.
It could be. Now, Mike, you're planning on being there, right?
Yes.
Oh, hell yeah! All right then. We have our first confirmed guest. Well, actually, we have three confirmed guests. Mike, Blaine, and Nick from the Metalcast that we're on. They're going to come back and join us for that, along with Mike. We're hoping Westicles will be there. All intents and purposes, he is slated to be there, but things could change. I hope nothing comes up. Silent Rob, he's always there. He's here right now.
He'll make an appearance. He might even speak.
He may even speak.
We'll
have to wait and see. I don't know. We'll have to touch base with Nate to see if Shuddy Boy will call in or anything like that. We don't know yet. We're still planning on putting this big show, and it's going to be pretty nuts. A lot of funny things going on that night. It's going to be completely chaotic. But until then, I think next week me and Nate are going to be coming at you live together for probably our first regular podcast in over a month, because I want to say we did part of a regular cast in front of the Spider-Man Rift track, which, guys, go check that out if you haven't. That's pretty cool. But we're actually going to be catching up on a lot of stuff next week. We have a lot of stuff we haven't even talked about. We haven't even talked about, the whole season of Daredevil.
Well, with the Ultron coming out, that's been the focus.
It has been, and I want to thank everybody who's listened to the Journey to Ultron episode. The episode is done very well. It's a long one, I know that, but you guys listened to it and gave us some good numbers on that, and I can't thank you guys enough. I mean, it was such a feat for us to pull off, to have all those people on the show that were never actually in the same room. So, Mike, I want to thank you for coming on the show tonight and talking some games with me and kind of weighing in on some stuff. I mean, the outlook is honestly looking a lot better than I originally thought it was.
It's good. But thanks for having me.
Oh, always, buddy, always. And I'll be seeing you in a few weeks. Guys, all you guys out there in podcast land, check us out on all our social media stuff. If you go to the journeyintocomics.podbean.com, all of our links are there for YouTube, Facebook, Instagram. You're going to get stuff from all over the place. Just search Journey into Comics into YouTube to find the YouTube channel. On Twitter, that may or may not be super active, JIC Podcast. We'll keep you guys updated about what's going on with episode 50. Next week, me and Nate will be right back at you talking about all things comics, all things hyping up for episode 50. So until then, thanks, Mike, again for being on, and I will check you guys later.